Hi dear ones, a very happy Thursday to you all. I hope you're doing well. I thought I'd come to you today from outside because as you can see the sun is shining and it's actually quite a beautiful day, although it's quite chilly still here in Ireland. And I also wanted to talk to you a little bit off the cuff today without any preset notions, and I wanted to chat to you about self-care. So when you go online and you look at self-care checklists, a lot of them are very physical. They talk about getting good sleep, which is very, very important. They speak about getting a certain amount of exercise, eating healthy foods and green leafy vegetables and fruit. And there's a lot of physical things, breathing exercises, and of course we do go through a lot of those healing practices when we speak about the various different chakras. And they're very, very important. But I feel that there is a little bit more that we can do. Louise Hay says that a thought is just a thought, and a thought can be changed. The thought is what creates an emotion. And very often we tend to think the same types of thoughts. We have sort of a habit that's formed, a neuro-linguistic pathway that's formed in our brains, that when something happens to us, that automatically, the thought automatically occurs. And perhaps that particular thought takes you down into the doldrums. Perhaps because somebody else in your life is not happy, you feel you're not allowed to be happy. And so when you think you want to be happy, you find yourself putting your own obstacles in your own way. So how do we change these thoughts? Okay, so in theory, the change is think a different thought. Folks, there's a little bit more to this. It's about being prepared, and that's part of your self-care. If you know that you have past memories that pop up often, and if you know that they take you off of your even keel, if you know that they take you down into the doldrums of despair, into a dark place that takes you days or sometimes even weeks to get out of, then the only way to combat that and to create a new neural pathway is to create a new habit in your mind, or a new thought habit. So a good exercise for this is actually to, first of all, you need to be aware of your thoughts. You need to be aware of which thoughts create that feeling that makes you feel unhappy or despairing or without courage, or perhaps whatever it is. Those thoughts will eventually create illness in your body, okay? So I don't care what anybody says. You need to get rid of them, all right? But so many people have a problem. I can't just not think. My head's going crazy all the time, and I'm constantly debating with myself or in conversation with myself, and I'm finding that I cannot not think those things. Okay, so that is absolutely fine. Knowing that you think those things, that's a bonus because you're aware of your thoughts. So now that you're aware of your thoughts, you're able to actually write those thoughts down. So open a page in your journal, make sure it's 2 pages next to each other, and perhaps a few afterwards, depending on how long you're going to, how much you feel trips you up, and start writing out the thought that trips you up. When you're in this particular situation, this particular thought will come up. So let's take sitting in front of the television at night, and I have the thought that I want something sweet. Okay. Let's say, and this is very innocuous, so because I don't want to specify on something that maybe some people might think that I'm speaking towards them specifically. I'm speaking to everybody, and each and every one of us has a different thought that trips us up. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you want a snack. You've got a little bit of the munchies in the evening, and you want a chocolate. So if you feel that wanting the chocolate is what takes you down into the depths of despair, then when you are aware of that thought of wanting a chocolate popping up, what would you like to replace it with? Okay, so if you find yourself in a situation where as soon as your boss opens his mouth, everything that comes out of his mouth sounds like a scold, be prepared with a different thought. He's just giving an instruction. My boss values my contribution. If we are prepared with a new thought to replace the old one, and when we think that old thought, we affirm a new thought 3 times, because why is 3 such a magical number? Well, specifically with regards to the brain. The first time you don't actually really hear it. The second time you say it to yourself, it's actually starting to be understood. And it's only the third time that you say it to yourself that it is accepted as fact. And remember that our brain is just a computer for the rest of our bodies. So if we are thinking thoughts that are not conducive to our highest and greatest good, we are not only capable of reprogramming that brain, we are the only one that can. That's where hypnosis for smoking or whatever else, that's how that works. Because we go into a place where we're calm, where we do not have any, it's cognitive therapy, and we cognitively are looking at something calmly, and we are changing that. So constant hypnosis or being in a state of cognitive therapy will assist us to create that new thought pattern. So when we have a panicked thought, you know what panicked thoughts they are. You know that maybe it's a thought when you open the post and you get a bill in the post, and all of a sudden you are obsessed with the fact that you do not have any money, and you're obsessed with your lack. So what are you doing? You're sending energy out of lack, and then it's drawing more lack to you. So when you get that bill in the post, be prepared with the thought of, I love my bills, and I thank for the ability to pay them. I love my bills, and I thank for the ability to pay them. I love my bills, and I thank for the ability to pay them. Why? Because that bill shows that you have a service that you can pay for, and you love the service that that bill provides, whether it's electricity, mobile phone, whatever it may be, whether it's your car payments, whatever it may be. So now take that and apply it to any and all of your other thoughts. When the phone rings and it's somebody you don't want to speak to, you do not have to pick up the phone. But you also don't have to then continue scolding yourself and making yourself feel guilty for not answering that phone call. If we are prepared, very well prepared, for the change of thought or the new thought pattern that we would like to have, then we are doing something that is self-care, because we are never unprepared to go out into the world without the things that we require. Ladies walk around with a handbag. Men, although they do not have a handbag, most of them, they always have their wallet and their keys and their cell phone in their pockets. Most of us don't leave the house without something that we need. So when you go out in the world, and that is when you wake up in the morning, give yourself that self-care. Give yourself that first and best opportunity to be prepared for that negative thought, and have a positive thought ready for it. Repeat it 3 times, and you will create a new neuro-linguistic pathway that will now no longer knee-jerk to the old stuff. And this is really one of the best pieces of advice that I could take from Louise Hay, and to take it and carry it throughout my life. Doesn't mean that I don't still get tripped up, because perhaps I haven't been aware of that particular thought that did. So as soon as you have a thought that does trip you up, write it down, because writing it down commits it to memory, and write it down with the other thing. And that then commits the new positive thought pattern into your brain. Remember, it only takes 40 days to make or break a habit. So you only have to do that 40 days in a row. And if you don't have those type of thoughts for 30 days, then you might not have an opportunity to create a new neural pathway. So make sure that you're aware of those things that pop up not every single day as well, because those things might trip you up too. Okay. Dear ones, remember the 4 agreements and the 5 Reiki principles. Give yourself something to look forward to every day, even if it's just taking off your shoes after work. Okay? Get a little bit of exercise. Respect yourself enough to love what you put inside yourself as well. Get some good sleep. That's very important. And above all else, love yourself unconditionally. I'll be back tomorrow with the end of throat chakra.